Alright, here we go. So we're starting up against Ryan here again. Let's see, and I actually make the wheel again. Oh boy. So yeah, one more time, this is Ryan on Yuri's account, because we were having trouble making new accounts. Oh my god, wow, I guess he also has the 4. Alright, so about Ryan's game, I think that anyway, I think that he's going to be generally kind of loose passive, and that he's probably going to try to call down too often because I think he overreacts to feeling bullied, and that's going to be one of his main weaknesses. I'm probably going to play pretty small bally against him because my aggression frequencies will, like, irritate him and throw off his game and his feeling. Like, he'll feel like he's getting bluffed more than he really is because I can play higher aggression frequencies when I bet smaller. There you go, he's got the 10. That's fine. You played that one fine. Let's see. Alright, and I think I'm going to 3x buttons against him because I have a feeling he's going to play pretty inelastic, like, between 3x and min raise, so I don't think that he's really going to change his range much against min raise, so I might as well 3x pre-flop, and then I'll probably do some small balling post-flop on some pots. But I don't like that he's limping buttons. I think that's kind of weak. Like, it's not horrible, but it's really weak passive, and it's not building the pot when you have position, so it's going to make it hard for you to win a lot of money unless I go crazy and just barrel off into you in just all sorts of silly spots. So yeah, I am sticking with 3xing buttons for now. I think he's going to flat pretty wide against 3x, maybe a little wider than he should. I'm going to try to get a showdown here and try to get an idea of what his flat calling range against 3x is. And he has queen 2 off. That's probably too wide, so I think he's definitely defending too wide against 3x in general. Like, it would be okay to flat that against min raise most of the time, but I think against 3x, queen 2 off is kind of a fold, almost always. Unless you're going to 3-bet bluff it in some silly spot. Here I'm just going to bluff at the flop on this limped pot. Because he can have nothing a lot and I could have something easily. It's very possible for me to have a 10 or a king or whatever, a 3 even. Still 3xing buttons. In fact, I might even raise more than 3x if he keeps flatting so much against 3x. I don't think he's going to 3-bet nearly enough. I think he's too passive pre-flop. So he's letting me raise the button really wide because he doesn't really 3-bet very much to stop me. So, see here. So I think that when he actually opens the button, it's going to be pretty tight, like probably just top 20% or something, 25, 30% maybe, because he's limping like almost everything. Alright, flop a flush draw. Obviously just gonna, I'm gonna half pot this. I haven't really introduced much half potting yet. Let's see what he does. That's okay, I'm gonna pot the turn with my flush draw and gut shot here. He's gonna check call, and I hit the flush. That's very nice. I'm just gonna pot it. Check calls. Flush is good. Flop a pair of 9s here. I'm going to lead out. Yeah, so, looks like he thinks I was, he perhaps thought I was bluffing on the hand with the flush there. That might be a bit of a leak calling down on that third club there. Granted, I could occasionally 3-barrel bluff there with air, but not very much. And so he's probably overestimating the frequency with which I'm actually going to fire 3 barrels with air. Like, I can get away, if I'm half-potting lots of flops and stuff, I can get away with half-potting, like, a ridiculous number of flops against him, especially if he's passive, because I just don't need him to fold very often to make it work. The lower frequency, or the lower sizing allows you to get away with a much higher frequency of doing it. So here we go. What's he got? He's going to lead pot. I'll just fold. I get it all, so I'm going to assume that that range is strong for now until I see him do it some more. Flop trip nines. It's pretty cool. I'm going to lead half pot. He calls. I'm going to half pot turn. I'm going to bomb river, because I think he'll put me on a bluff pretty often. He min raises river. Good lord, really? I have to shove here. Yeah, that's not good. If you're going to min raise river there, you have to be willing to fold to a 3-bet shove, because I can't 3-bet without the 9 ever. Yeah, I can't really call with worse hands when he raises there. Yep, he says he figured I can't have it again. Again, that's probably because he perceives my aggression frequencies as higher than they really are. Even though they are pretty high because I'm half-potting a ton. I think he's just going to play way worse against these half-pot lines than he does against pot lines. Although I'll still pot like some monsters and stuff. Here I just check turn and I might have the best hand, I don't know. I'll just check it down and hope king high's the best hand here. I think that he's going to have some ace high, some king high. I think he has something here. I don't think king high is good. He's probably got like a low pair or a 5 or maybe a 2 on the river. Oh wow, okay, apparently I had quads. Alright, he leads pot here. I'm going to raise him big. I haven't really raised flop against his lead yet. He just folds, okay. So he can lead with stuff that he's willing to fold to a raise. He can lead pot with stuff that he folds to a raise. I think he might be leading pot with, like, air, because he really folded that pretty quickly. Here I'm going to 3x king 6 suited over his limp, because I think he'll limp call lots of hands, and bottom pair I'll just half pot it. Just half pot lines in general I think are going to be very good against Ryan. And then I'm going to pot turn because it looks like I think it looks more like a bluff, like I want him to fold. Nah, he folds anyway, it's fine. Maybe he should have half potted turn to keep him in a little longer, but I think pot some there is okay as well, kind of balancing that range, because I will use that half pot flop pot turn pattern to bluff a fair bit. Since Ryan like almost never 3-bets, I'm going to be opening 100% of buttons right now, even for 3x, and I shouldn't be able to get away with that, but I am because Ryan doesn't 3-bet enough, and he calls too many hands. So here I'll just c-bet pot with, you know, polarized range air. See if I can barrel him off this turn card. Although I'm going to have to fire all 3 here. Like, this is a weak enough hand that going after this, pretty much have to commit to firing all 3 barrels. Let's see if he is willing to fold to one. Oh, he folds the third barrel. I guess he thinks my early aggression frequencies there are too low, that if low enough that if I fire all 3 barrels, he has, oh, he just had draws, okay. Well, I guess I picked a good spot to 3-barrel there. Although I could have, if I'd known he had draws, I could have gotten rid of the smaller river bet, but here I'm just going to lead pot with top pair of 4s and a flush draw. I'm going to turn the flush, and I suppose I'll just pot it again. Calls, river, I just pot it again. C-bet pot with 2 overs and a gutter. He calls. That's not a great turn card for me at all. I don't like the 3rd spade, and I don't have any spades. I'm going to check it back. That doesn't really help me. 4 spades on board is bad. I'm just going to check down. He probably has me. No, actually, oh yeah, he does. 9 of spades is good. Raises limp again. Okay, I think I can just pot this and get a bunch of folds, because I think he's just nothing very often. He's floating all kinds of crap now. If I just barrel, I think he can't really call down very much. Yeah. I think he's floating the flop too much. Oh, pocket queens, he says. Wow, sick. Okay, he seems to be running pretty bad, but I think one of Ryan's biggest leaks is that I think he responds very poorly to running bad. Like, it's worth it to take some gambles and risks against Ryan to try to get him tilted, because if you can get like a huge cooler on him or something, get him just he'll be willing to like gamble really recklessly to try to get back. So he plays. I think Ryan's a decent player when he's like focused and like clear-headed, but when he gets angry, he just tilts really badly, and just so it's really worth it to try to create situations against him where he's going to be tilting. And that means, you know, if I can play real fast and maybe just catch him with a couple thin value bets or something like that. 7's good. Nope, he's got the jack. That's fine. I might have called a river bet there. Maybe. That would have been tough. Checks back. Actually meant to bet that with bottom pair, but check back is fine too. I'm gonna call a turn bet. And I just have 4th pair now. This can't really be very good here. I'm just gonna fold to his river bet. I just think he's gotta have a better pair there really often. The sizing he used looks like he's not, I don't think he's bluffing. He can't expect me to fold that much there, so I think he kind of has to be value betting. I'm going to raise his limp again. I really don't like his pre-flop limps. He's going to limp 3-bet me. Okay, I'll call with kind of janky hand. And flop nothing. Haven't seen him limp 3-bet yet, but it's probably a good hand, so I'll just check fold flop kind of exploitively. Yeah, aces. Yeah, that limp 3-bet with aces is kind of a tell. I mean, even if the case ace had come down and I'd hit top pair, I don't think I would have paid off, because his range is so obviously strong with the limp 3-bet. So unless he's going to balance that with some bluffs too, I don't know that limp 3-bet is really going to be a good line to have in his game. I think he should be open raising buttons, not limping in general. Like if your opponent 3-bets a whole lot, you can limp a few hands, like to kind of limp call and keep the pot from getting too big. But in general, limping and heads up is almost useless, and you just, I mean, you know, I don't know, maybe he's correct in thinking that I'll 3-bet him a ridiculous amount, which some of the time I will, at which point it might be appropriate to limp some buttons, but he should still be raising a decent percentage of buttons, and he's raising like none. He's just limping every button, so all the pots he plays in position are going to be really small, and that's a problem. Well, whatever, I just fold with him, I don't even care. Just have nothing. So again, yeah, I can get away with 3xing 100% of buttons as long as I play well post-flop and don't c-bet too much if he's not folding. But here I think I can get him to fold. He donks pot. I'm gonna min raise him, see what he thinks about that. Calls it. I turn a 9. I'm just gonna kind of be done with this pot. I think he has an ace or king a lot. I only win if he had like a flush draw. No, because his flush draw got there actually on the river. So if he bets here, I think he's gonna be pretty value heavy. No. Just a 3. Sick. My 9's good. Again, I'm just going to be, against his limp, I'm going to be raising a range of, you know, like, maybe 40% of hands, something like that. It's going to be a little less than half. I'm just going to check the rest. But I'm going to raise a pretty, like, a fairly wide range against his limp because I can still play pretty well out of position, as long as I've got a hand that's not terrible. Yeah, in fact, I don't know. Well, I wonder what he would do against 4x button. Like, might actually start raising bigger than 3x on the button because I think he might just flat too wide and inelastic just to get to post flop. He gonna lead at me again? He is gonna lead at me again. Alright, I'll call. I don't really buy it that he has anything here. I think he's just leading because he doesn't think I have anything. So C gives up turn. He might have a 7. I mean, that would be okay. I'll check it down, see if ace high is good. Oh, 6 on the river is good. Very nice. Got me the 9 deuce suited. That's not going to be good enough to raise against the limp, I don't think. I flop nothing, so, but I think I can lead here and represent something because he'll have nothing a lot of the time. I'm going to barrel this. I'm going to probably fire all 3 barrels here, just to see if I can represent having flopped a good hand. You know, here I can represent hearts perhaps or the ace, unless he has an ace and he's not going to fold. That's good. He got me. Oh, I'll call down with the jack. Nice hand. Good call. Hopefully getting called down in that 3 barrel will give me some more action. He's going to lead again here. I'm not going to get to half pot even much because I think Ryan is going to lead his hand. I'm going to min raise flop here, top pair, and the 3rd nut flush draw. He calls. And he leads again on the turn. Alright. I'm going to min raise again on the turn then. And he calls again. River 6 of spades. Shouldn't do a whole lot. I'm going to try to induce here. Betting like 1/3 pot. Queen jack is good. I kind of wonder what he had there. I'd like to talk about it after the match, maybe. I guess I think he probably had a worse top pair, I would imagine. Too sure. I'm just gonna c-bet half pot. He min raises. He can't have anything here. I mean, if he has a 7 here, then that's actually probably really good. But I don't think he has too much, unless he like barrels off real big. I mean, I just really don't believe this. Oh, hard on the river. I mean, seriously? What is he just at the 7? I guess he has the 7 or the flush a lot, so I'll just let it go. Can't make a sick hero call here. Yeah. Oh, 7's full of 9s, wow. Yeah, see, I don't think that he is aggressive enough, so that when he fires all 3 barrels, it's pretty easy for me to not really ever call him down light, because he's just not doing it often enough. And I flop 6 full of aces, which is fun. I'm gonna half pot it. Good call, that's good. I'm gonna 3/4 pot the turn to kind of mix it up. And he folds, that's fine. Once again, I check my 7 deuce offsuit. Again, I'm gonna lead tons of flops here though, because I'll just have nothing so often. A barrel turn. Actually, I'm not, because last time I did this, he just called down all 3 in a limped pot. And I think he's trying to keep pots small so that he can call down all 3 in unraised pots, so... yeah. So I actually probably need to tighten up my leads in unraised pots on the flop. Queen Jack two-tone. I feel like he might lead here a lot. I'll just let him have this one. I'll fold. I'm gonna raise his limp. King 8 off. He's gonna call. Flop the king. That's good. I will half pot it. He folds. Very good then. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot I was going to try like 4xing buttons and stuff. Oh, I'll just fold to his lead pot here. It's fine. He shows trip 10s. Very nice. Yeah, I think his lead pot range is going to be like pretty kind of unbalanced toward value. I think he's going to tend to be doing it with more strong hands than bluffs, so I'm not going to pay off too terribly much against it. Can half pot flop here. There we go. So yeah, I think since he's going to be speculating real wide and folding flops a lot, we should actually try. Yeah, so let's see what he does against 4x. He still just flats without a second thought. That's probably a leak. Like, he should be tightening the range that he's willing to play. Here I'm half pot bluffing, and I might barrel turns. Okay, that's cool. He should tighten the range that he's willing to defend out of position as the sizing gets bigger, like a lot. Like against min raise, you should be playing tons of hands, but against 3x, you should be playing not really that many hands, and against 4x, you should be playing really not that many hands. It really, that's a major leak he's got here, is that as the sizing of the open race gets bigger, you have more and more problems flat calling really wide. You've got to basically what he needs to do pre-flop here, instead of flat calling wide ranges for whatever big sizing I make it, he needs to be 3-betting pre-flop and probably polarizing his range. So I'm going to see I'm 5xing and see if that stops him from flatting wide. You know, he still flats. So I mean, he's just that's called being really, really inelastic. He's just way too inelastic out of position against my raises. So we're just he's question marking the box while I'm explaining this. Anyway, alright, I'll call flop. Just floating here. So he let out. Barrels pot on the turn. Okay, I'll fold it. Says he was lagging. So yeah, I'm going to be 4xing his limp and seeing how that goes. I'm going to half pot flop with my top pair plus gutter here, because I want some action. I'm going to half pot turn. Ryan folds turn, that's fine. And here I am 3xing any two cards, which is kind of like which is definitely theoretically unbalanced. Like that's definitely exploitable. But to exploit it, he would have to be more aggressive. He would have to 3-bet pre-flop more and or like, you know, lead flops more, and maybe check raise flops, stuff like that. But occasionally I just get a not c-bet with, you know, nothing. Because I don't think he folds to c-bet that much. Like, I think he kind of looks for reasons to call c-bet and try to get to turn the river to outplay me later. So here, I'm going to go for the double delayed c-bet, because that doesn't usually look like a bluff. It looks like I could very easily have hit a jack here. Or I could have slow played something. Yeah, so that gets a lot of folds. The check back twice and then bet river looks like you would have bet sooner if you were trying to bluff and that you just hit something. Some kind of mediocre pair, you know. So, Ryan's button now. So my overall out of position strategy against him, since he doesn't raise buttons like ever, is to just raise like 35-40% of my hands, like of good, like up higher hands against him total, and then just check everything else, and then play fairly straightforward post flop, but also bluff a decent portion of the time, because he has such a wide range of hands he's trying to draw with that like he just often is going to have some busted draw type hand that he just can't call down, so I can bluff more often against him than I can against a lot of people. I'll have to check down now here, and I'll probably lose because he's probably got the queen. Or he could have the diamonds. They got backdoor diamonds got there. I'll check fold that. I just think he's going to have it on that board when he finally attacks. See, he's just too passive, so like another central exploitable thing about Ryan's game is that it's too easy for me to figure out when he has good hands because he doesn't bet often enough otherwise. So like he doesn't take the initiative from me often enough, so then when he does come out with a strong aggressive attack, I mean, yeah, he gets away with more bluffs that way, I guess. But he also doesn't get paid on his good hands like ever because he's just very rarely in an aggressive gear. He's just trying to catch me on bluffs, which is not necessarily going to win the game. I think I can half-pot river here with the 5. Get called by like a 3. Yeah, there we go. That was really thin, but I guess it worked. Since I check back turn, I think he's more likely to call down with like any pair or maybe even ace high when I half-pot river. I'm not going to go after this one. He hasn't really been folding flops, so I'm going to kind of back off my flop aggression with air unless I'm planning to fire at least 2 barrels, like almost certainly on most turns, in most rivers. Here, I turned to gutter and he check back flop, and his check back flop range is probably predictably weak, so I would barrel this if I thought he'd ever fold, but I just don't think he folds anything because it's such a small pot and he wants to see what I have, so I'm just going to check fold. He has the 7s and 2s. I bet he wishes we were playing 7-2 roll now. Let's see. Probably gonna half-pot this. Like I'm really half-potting the flop with the vast majority of my range against Ryan because he looks for reasons to call, and if I pot it, he doesn't do that nearly as much. He just widens his range against smaller bets like so much. I'm gonna half-pot it again. King river is not so great. He's got donk river. Alright, I call. If he has the king, then he's got me. 3. Oh, he's gonna bluff with busted open-ender. It's not a terrible bluff, but the king is sort of the king can be kind of a reverse scare card there, meaning it's a card that like I know he thinks looks like a good scare card. So if he has a lot of weak hands in his range, then I think that there's an extra higher chance that he's bluffing when he goes after like a king river like that, because you know it's traditionally a scare card, but I know that he knows that. And he knows that I know it's a scare card, but he doesn't know that I know he knows it looks like a scare card, and so thus he's bluffing a lot. And that's a reverse scare card, and so I called down really light. Here I'm going to pot the river and hope he calls me down light with like a 10. No. So yeah, there's a kind of 3 levels of thinking on that one, on the reverse scare cards. But that's something to look out for. Like if you know your opponent knows that you're gonna try to look at certain kinds of turn of river cards as scare cards and keep bluffing on them, like a lot, then you basically have to just stop bluffing those cards for the most part, because you know your opponent is gonna think that you think they're good bluffing spots. He pops it. Well, I'll just check call, bottom pair, and gutter. Might be a little light, but oh, turn trips like a boss. I'm just gonna lead half pot here. He raises, he shoves. I call. Probably just has the queen. Nope. Yeah, open ender. No good. Yeah, I don't think it's good to get it all in with the open ender there. I think he's just call turn because it's cheap. Looks like he's done. Alright, good game, Ryan. I'm going to send you this video with the commentary then. Talk to you later.